Let's turn to today's primary elections. Voters are casting ballots in Florida and Alaska, and California is holding a special House election to replace former Congressman Eric Swalwell, who resigned earlier this year. Primaries are also happening in Wyoming, where Trump endorsed Congresswoman Harriet Hageman. She is expected to clinch a Republican nomination for U.S. Senate. Right now, the seat belongs to outgoing GOP Senator Cynthia Lummis, and it's highly unlikely a Democrat will flip it. So let's bring in CBS News political director Fin Gómez. Fin, let's turn to your favorite state, Florida. What are you watching there?
I do love Florida. I do love the Sunshine State quite a bit. Look, I'm really watching is the governor's race, where we could be headed for a key general election matchup between the Trump-backed Republican Congressman Byron Donalds and David Jolly, who's a former Republican Congressman, Vlad, who's now a Democrat and a vocal critic of President Trump. In the Senate race, many Democrats that I spoke to in Florida believe that Alex Finman, the former NSC official and key witness again in the first Trump impeachment, can make a competitive race against Republican Ashley Moody. She's the incumbent senator, but he first has to defeat the state rep in that primary, Angie Nixon, who is a Democratic socialist. In today's primary, though, I think you have to remember that history is really working against Democrats here, Vlad, because they haven't won a Florida Senate election since Bill Nelson back in 2012. I'm also keeping an eye on the pileup that I'm calling a pileup in the newly redrawn 20th district. If you recall, Governor DeSantis and his Republican allies redrew a bunch of districts in Florida. But in this race, it's a crowded field that includes Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the former DNC chair, Sheila Cherfilus McCormick, another congresswoman, and rapper Luther Campbell from back in the 80s and 90s. They're competing in a majority black district that should remain Democratic. In November, it's a very blue district, but some of Wasserman Schultz's black opponents have accused her of district shopping and potentially, they say, diluting black representation in Congress. She has rejected that criticism pretty adamantly, but those are the races that we're watching in Florida.
What about Alaska? I know that there are two Dan Sullivans on the ballot in the Senate primary there. How is that going to impact voting? Because I know they have different middle names, but if you're going through things pretty quickly, what's your read?
Look, I think it could cause some confusion. I mean, when you have two Sullivans on the ballot, and I think, like you said, I think their middle initials are different. There's some other information that's different there, too, to distinguish them. And also on the ballot now says that the incumbent senator is the incumbent. But the incumbent campaign has used the other Dan Sullivan of trying to confuse voters and siphon away support to help Mary Peltola. The challenger denies this. But whatever the case may be, because this is a top four primary in Alaska, Senator Sullivan and Mary Peltola, the Democrat, are both expected to advance. And I think for Peltola, there's this really interesting sort of kerfuffle that's happened. There's been this recent turbulence, if you will, surrounding her campaign. Her longtime advisor departed just before the primary, and then her campaign, what happened was their campaign rejected an unsolicited fundraising appeal from Kamala Harris, specifically her PAC, who sent out a joint fundraising appeal. They tried to disassociate themselves from Harris. A reminder, this is a state that Trump won by 14 points. And Mary Peltola also did not endorse Kamala Harris during the 2024 presidential cycle. She's really trying to focus on the sort of like an independent brand, if you will, and really needs to kind of shy away, Democrats have told me, from sort of the Washington Democrat sort of establishment. Vlad, Kelly?
So many interesting races, and that Sullivan versus Sullivan is wild. Fin, thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.